the most wonderful time of the year. Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Mel, and today I bring you guys all the books I plan to read in October, also known as my October TBR, also known as plan a month in reading with me, plan a reading month ahead, anything in between. All of these could apply. Today I'm gonna talk about all the books that I want / need / plan to read in the month of October. And October is just a really exciting month for me overall, because not only is it spooky season, which I mean I have loved, like I'm not a die-hard fan, I much rather the holiday season like December, but I know just like me a lot of you really love spooky season. It is also my birthday month, so that is also super exciting. So I do plan to have some great reads, hopefully, fingers crossed, in this month. Last time around I switched around the format, very much inspired by Emmy and the Book Leo, and instead of doing a regular sit-down chatty-esque video giving you only synopses of the books that I'm reading for the month, I switched it around and I did a plan with me style video where I took you guys with me throughout a few days and basically showed you my process with building a TBR. And before I get overly chatty and start talking about the potential and concrete books that I'm reading in October, I do need to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, which is Disney Book Group, in celebration of their newest release, which is the 12th book in the Twisted Tales series, What Once Was Mine. I know a lot of you, just like me, also really love retellings. I am constantly looking for really great ones, and I know a lot of you guys also really love the series, so it feels like it's the perfect match here. And this one follows Rapunzel, and it raises the question of what if Rapunzel's mother drank a potion from the wrong flower? We have our setting, as per usual, this beautiful kingdom where the queen is currently ill and pregnant, and the citizens of this kingdom are going out of their way to find this very specific flower to heal their queen. Instead, though, they find a completely different flower that, yes, allows her to birth a beautiful baby girl, but instead of having the power to heal, this baby girl has the power to hurt. And after 18 years of being locked in this tower, Rapunzel decides to venture out into the world, and in the midst of that she meets two thieves that will accompany her on her journey, an outlaw named Gina and a character that we all know and love, Flynn Rider. And this will be a journey of self-discovery and revelations and adventure and a bunch of exciting stuff that I am sure we will all love. So if you are interested in checking it out, don't worry, it can also be read as a standalone, and it is already out, so you can check it out at the top of my description. I will be leaving a link so you guys can check it out. Thank you so much to Disney Book Group for sponsoring this video, and let's get right into the October TBR. Today's weather is so particular. It's super sunny outside, but it is also thundering. So I guess that shall bring us good luck in our endeavors today, and we'll potentially choose a really great TBR. As I did last time, I also have my journals here with me. Now this time around, I also brought my notes journal in which I'll just jot down my options. But also, now that I have this beautiful journal from Illumicrate, I also really want to start out a spread for October. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I also really want to look for some audiobooks on Libby and on Scribd to see exactly, again, what formats I'm reading books in. It's gonna be a really crazy ambitious month with reading, but I have confidence that I can do it. Okay, you guys, so a super weird angle. I've been kind of browsing my shelves, and even though I had like this slight idea of what I wanted to read for October, it's like so hard to kind of like handpick books out, and I'm having a lot of difficulty here. But I do have certain books that, again, I do need to get to, so let me talk about those very quickly so that we can kind of get the buddy reads for Patreon and the Citadel out and know that those are happening, and then talk about the other books that I want to fit in October. You guys know I run 2 different book clubs in Patreon, one by myself, which is the Citadel Book Club, and then we have Le Fantasme, which is run with Liv, and so I've got those 2 running every single month. And for Le Fantasme, that is going to be Paola Santiago and The River of Tears. We wanted to choose something that was short, something that was Latin, and something that was just really fun, and I think this screams all of that. It subverts a lot of the original legends and mythos of the Latin community, and I can't wait to see what it does with all of that. It focuses primarily on El Chupacabras and La Llorona, and those are stories that I grew up listening to literally every time that I went to my grandparents' house when I was younger, and still to this day. Like, I still live in fear of these 2 like mythical legendary creatures, so this is gonna be really, really fun. And then I've got Shadow of the Wind. Now, a lot of you guys have been noting that Mel, you should read it in Spanish. I will, I just don't have a copy yet, so this is why I'm holding out the translated edition. For some reason here in Panama, it's been sold out for the longest time, and they never have it at a store that's like super nearby to me, so I had to special order one so that they could bring it to the store that's again nearest to me. Again, I wanted to choose something that was Hispanic, something that is considered more so of a classic, something that's just very different to what we've done for the book club in the past. So I'm very happy that this ended up winning the mystical, mysterious poll that I put up. And this one is set in Barcelona in 1945, and we follow our main character who collects the works of this author, and somebody is intentionally burning all of these authors' works, and our main character Daniel has no idea why these things are happening, and he believes that he might have the very last of these books in his possession, and so he embarks on this journey in underground Barcelona to find out exactly what's happening, why they're being burned. And I think it not only sounds super interesting, and it fits very much this time of year, which is Latin Heritage Month, but also it's the perfect atmosphere for October because it's not spooky, but I think it's definitely one of those books, given the cover and the synopsis, that just sounds very fall-centric. I technically should have read City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper, but I didn't get around to those, so I'm going to binge read the entirety of the City of Brass trilogy, the Dapabat trilogy, in October. And I think those ones I'm going to audiobooks, like I'm going to audiobook the entire trilogy. I need to double check Scribd in a minute with you guys to see if the audiobooks are available there, and I'm also going to just keep perusing and see exactly what is resonating with me. Okay, so we're officially on the desk area, and I brought a few books with me. So I primarily brought over books that I've been like really anticipating reading / finishing. So I really want to knock these out in October. I know that for sure. The question is, I think there's 2 of these that I will actually audiobook as well, or at least have a companion audiobook as I read along. The first book that I'm not going to audiobook, and again, this is where I kind of think about Mel, just be realistic, and this TBR might go through a million different edits, but Shadow of Night is a book that I really want to finish. This is the 2nd book in a Discovery of Witches series. I am currently 194 pages in, and I've been 194 pages in for I think like 2 or 3 months now. Like I put this down and I haven't picked it back up, so I really want to finish this book, and I kind of want to see also how the whole series wraps up. I loved the first book. It was 5 stars for me, and I think at the moment, since I was reading primarily YA and I really wasn't familiarized with the pacing and all of the, I guess, like nuances of adult or adult fantasy rather, I was finding this incredibly slow, and I was so frustrated. I was like, can this move on? And so I think now I'll appreciate it a lot more. I can pick up right where I left off because I remember literally everything that happened in those first 200 pages, and I can just hopefully finish this out. Then the 2 books that I really want to get to as well, and that I will, one of these I know for sure I am going to audiobook, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Ever since I uploaded my 5-star predictions, and actually some of my patrons do have read this book, everybody recommends the audiobook for this because they say that it's way easier to digest and that the production quality of the audiobook is really nice. I think it's also an Audible exclusive, so might have to spend a credit on this. I'm gonna look it up in a little bit and you guys are gonna come with me on that. And also the book that I unfortunately didn't get to in September, which was Sword of Destiny. This is the 2nd set of novellas for The Witcher. So this one I'm I'm definitely reading as well in October. I really liked the audiobook for The Last Wish, so I am also going to look on Libby to see if the audiobook for Sword of Destiny is ready to borrow. Let's look at everything that we need to look at. I also am hungry, so I'm going to order some food as well. And let's get to planning, because I feel like after I find the audiobooks for these two books, the TBR is going to start taking a little bit more shape. Yes, borrow. Okay, so I'm currently on my computer and I am using Scribd and Audible at the same time. And they thankfully do have all 3 audiobooks for the David Bad trilogy. So I've just saved those. So I am going to be audiobooking the entire thing. I had also asked Liv what she personally thought of the audiobooks, and she personally really loves them and I trust her. So I have just again saved those and I am definitely audiobooking David Bad. And then looking at Audible, Project Hail Mary is an Audible exclusive. It's also 16 hours and I tend to listen to audiobooks on 2x speed, so that's a really good length for an audiobook to listen to in a day or two, or just in the span of a week. And then we can get into the books for the Celebrity Reads video, because it's again 3 books. And after that, I think I'm good to post whatever it is that I'm gonna post on the Patreon poll, and then see if I give you guys a little bit of power. So I have grabbed the books for the celebrity video that's happening in October. I'm really excited about it. I am also really excited about it because I am reading, yes, a classic, but a non-Western one, which is always pretty cool. So the 3 books that I'm gonna be reading for that video are right here. Again, they're all classics. And so the first one is 1984 by George Orwell. I know this is a very polarizing book. And then I have got the one that I wanted to include on last month's TBR, but I couldn't because I just had too many things going on, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So I'm really excited that I'm finally gonna get to Little Women, and I know Audible also has like one of their like Audible original productions, and I'm definitely going to audiobook Little Women, so that's gonna be a massive help with that video. And then Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Now this is Russian literature, which is something that I've never experienced, so definitely really excited about that. And actually one of you guys, when I mentioned how much I love the element of cat and mouse in books and how I wanted to find more books like that, one of you guys actually said that Crime and Punishment is a game of cat and mouse. And since I know nothing of this book, like I genuinely don't know the synopsis of this, I also don't know the synopsis for 1984. I like to go in blinder with books when it comes to video projects. Just the fact alone that this is a game of cat and mouse has made me really excited to read this. And I also know people in general really adore Dostoevsky's work, so really excited to experience this for the first time. It is a little bit of a longer book. It is over 600 pages, and every time I've mentioned that I'm reading Dostoevsky in October, people just go, "You're reading Dostoevsky?" And I go, yes, but I need to go back to the shelves and kind of see what I'm going to put up for poll for Patreon. The other thing that I could do is let you guys choose what I'm putting up on the Patreon poll. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so wait, that's actually a great idea. So what I could do is ask you guys on my Insta stories, what have been your latest 5-star reads? And if I own any of them, I'll put those up, and then they'll get to choose from your curated selection what I get to read. That actually sounds pretty cool, so I think that's what we're actually going to do. I've got the story right here. It is done, it is typed up, and it is time to send it. There we go, it's going up. Oh, hi Katie, hello. But it has gone up. I'm going to wait to see what you guys say, and as you guys start providing your answers, we'll get to see what the final book on my TBR is going to be. I'm really excited to see what comes out of this. eaten lunch. I am really full right now. So girl has recharged, I've eaten, and now I am ready to go back to the TBR portion of my day. And I asked you guys, I put up an Instagram story basically asking what your latest or your last few 5-star reads have been. You could leave me more than one option if you wanted to, and this was just kind of to see what you guys have really been loving that I might potentially love, and that again I could put up on the Patreon poll. So what I basically did was go through all of these and kind of handpick a few that were really repeated, surprisingly enough. Some that you said that the audiobook was really good for, and one that I've been kind of eyeing to read because I feel like it again fits this spooky season. The first one that I'm going to be putting up for poll is The Love Hypothesis, which is one that I'm really excited about because it's supposedly inspired by Raylo fanfiction. Then I've got The Picture of Dorian Gray, which again is super perfect for this time of year. I know Ben Barnes narrates the audiobook, and I'm kind of very into that. And then The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, which you guys also said, the ones that have read it and have loved it and given it 5 stars, the audiobook is really good, as well as The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a dark academia book. It's set in this secret society. I know the book has got some really cool illustrations and I don't yet own it, but if that wins the poll, I will be buying that book in this video as well so that it gets here in time for the start of October. And that will be the last book that I include on this TBR because I don't want to overwork myself with reading in October, especially because again, the Day of a Bad trilogy, if I didn't have that on my TBR, I would be able to choose more books if I really wanted to. I am not going to shoot myself in the foot. It's just not gonna happen. The poll is officially up and I'm constantly refreshing as I tend to do. And so far the Atlas 6 is winning, which I wasn't expecting. So maybe the Atlas 6 will win and that's really exciting. So we'll double check tomorrow once the voting time is up. And I also really forgot, and I kind of just remembered as I was looking for the audiobook for Swords of Destiny earlier, that I had borrowed the audiobook for Educated by Tara Westover. I read Know My Name in September and I absolutely loved my experience reading a memoir slash nonfiction, and it is something that I typically don't read or that I hadn't read in the past, and I really want to read more. There are so many great ones that I've been recommended by people on the Citadel, by you guys, by friends, that I know that if I really wanted to have like at least one a month or one every few months and audiobook them, I do have plenty of recommendations for that based on, again, other people and what they've told me. So I am also going to include Educated on my TBR, even though I know it's probably not the smartest choice, but given how many books I'm audiobooking, I am going to audiobook 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's not counting the Day of a Bad trilogy. If I count the Day of a Bad trilogy, then it'd be 7 books that I'm audiobooking from this entire TBR, which is crazy. But audiobooks are easier to run through than physical books because you can find more openings for them. The audiobook is 12 hours, so it's fairly short. It's 6 hours if I speed it up by 2 times, and it's something that I can finish again in a day or 2. That's where I'm at with the TBR. I think the only thing that I'm truly missing is that pick from the poll, but beyond that, I think we're looking pretty finalized after not really knowing and being super uncertain of what to or not to read. I am going to start my journal spread and just write down my TBR on every place that I need to have it in so that I remind myself what I need to read. And after that, I'll check back tomorrow. I am here to finalize the TBR, give you a little bit of synopses for these books, and I finally have a concrete answer as to what won the Patreon pick poll, which is exciting. So I put this up and you guys know I had a really clear sort of expectation as to how this was gonna go, and it went exactly as expected. So to me in my head, I knew it was gonna be the love hypothesis being somewhere on top, and I constantly kept refreshing and it was constantly tied. I didn't expect the Atlas 6 to be so on top. I genuinely thought that The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina and Dorian Gray were gonna have a slightly higher advantage over the Atlas 6, but apparently people are really intrigued by the book, just by a little bit, not by a lot, just tiny little bit. The love hypothesis ended up winning. I don't know why exactly my patrons want me to read this one. I don't know if a lot of them have read this or if it's just the Raylo fanfic aspect of this that just seems really fun. Whichever the case, this is being added to my TBR. And then this morning, my brain got a little chaotic and I found another audiobook that I really want to include. It's not long though, so that's good. The audiobook is 6 hours long. If I speed it up, it's only 3 hours, so it's literally something that I can finish in a day. And it's not about the burqa, so I really want to read this in October as well. I think it'll be a great addition to my memoirs slash nonfiction area. So let us do a run through of all of the books that I am planning to read in the month of October. Already told you guys about these two Patreon book club picks. I'm reading La Sombra del Viento by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and then Paola Santiago and the River of Tears by Taylor K. Mejia. So these two are being read. Other books that are being read, yes or yes, they're a little bit heavier. Give me a second. It is the Devabat trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty, and I've talked about this plenty of times. And then we've got this pile right here as well. Again, the love hypothesis, which is the one that ended up winning the poll. It does contain the fake dating trope, and I don't know if it's like Grumpy Sunshine, and I think she's the grumpy one in this equation. I might be completely off, but I know she doesn't have love in her equation, and this fake relationship might just make her believe in love once and for all, or something amongst those lines. And then I have got these three classics right here. We've got Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, and again, this is one that I know virtually nothing about. What I do know is what one of you guys said, that this contains the game of cat and mouse, and it's one of the best that you've seen, so I am very excited about that. 1984, which I know nothing about, and I'm gonna keep it that way. Then we've got Little Women. I talked about this in my previous TBR, and it follows the March sisters in their journey together through life, love, loss, happiness, and everything in between. You guys have said that it's one of your favorites, that you absolutely loved it, so this is another one that's going on the TBR. Then we've got Sword of Destiny, which is again the second set of novellas for The Witcher, and we follow Geralt, who is a witcher, and a witcher is this mythical mutant-like creature or human being that is essentially an assassin for hire, and they assassinate monsters. And in these short stories, we basically follow him through a variety of different cases and how he handles each of them, and I loved The Last Wish, so hopefully this will be no different for me. We've got Project Hail Mary, which I've talked about before, and we follow our main character Ryland as he goes on this space mission, and one day he wakes up and the only thing that he knows is that everybody around him is dead. He doesn't even remember his own name, but the fate of humanity is quite literally on his shoulders, and he doesn't even know that, and it sounds super interesting. So I hope that this will fulfill that 5-star prediction that I have about it. The last physical book that I'm going to be reading is going to be Shadow of Night, which is the second book in the All Souls trilogy. In this one, we follow our main character Diana, who is a scholar at Oxford University, and in particular, one day she finds herself in the Oxford Bodleian Library, and in there she finds this ancient alchemical lost text, the Ashmole 782, and unknowingly to her, she unleashes a war against creatures. Quite literally. Every supernatural creature that you can think of is now targeting her. And in the midst of that craziness, she ends up meeting Matthew, who is a vampire, and they strike this unlikely alliance and romance that is forbidden by all intents and purposes. And we follow them trying to save themselves and trying to prevent this otherworldly war from happening. And then the two books that I don't own but I'm also going to be reading this month are Educated by Tara Westover. This is a memoir slash nonfiction, and I know virtually literally nothing about this. I do know that Tara recounts her story as a woman who did not get to go to school because of the lifestyle that her parents chose for her. Literally the vaguest thing ever, but that's essentially what I know about it. And then we've got It's Not About the Burqa, and this one is basically an analysis about what it's like to be a Muslim woman in the West and how everybody essentially makes it all about the burqa, but it's really not. And I love the tagline for this. It's, when was the last time you heard a Muslim woman speak for herself without a filter? It sounds incredible. Again, I've heard nothing short of incredible things about this one too, so I can't wait to listen to the audiobook. And yes, you guys, that is my October TBR, all of the books that I plan to read in October. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what your reading plans are for October. What books are you including in your TBR? Have you started your TBR already? Let me know all of that down below. If you've read any of these books, also let me know. I am super excited to see what everybody is reading in October. I know a lot of people are planning like exclusively spooky thrillery reads. As you can tell, my TBR does not look like that. We've got a bunch of everything, but nonetheless, I am really excited about it. If you reached the end of the video, let's leave some scissor emojis down below. If you reached the very end of the video, don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. I am constantly uploading videos that I'm sure you don't want to miss. I upload 2 to 3 times a week, which is always a great time. And if you want to support the channel a little bit further, I do have a Patreon. We call ourselves the Citadel, and it is always the best time over there. So if you would like to join us, the link for that is in my description, as well as all of the links to my social media. You guys know where to find me. Again, thank you so much to Disney Book Group for sponsoring this video in celebration of What Once Was Mine by Liz Braswell. You can also check this out at the top of my description if you'd like to get yourself a copy and start with the series or read this as a standalone. I love you guys so much, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye guys.